It's the Custard TV live podcast.
Do you know what that sounded like to me?
Oh, what?
It just sounded like Peter Griffin the whole time. It just sounded like when Peter Griffin does a theme tune, it just sounds... That was Gary doing the It's the Custard TV podcast in the style of the Doctor Who theme tune, in case it wasn't overtly obvious. My name's Luke. I'm the only one of the podcast team that I know of that is currently sporting that manly thing of a hot water bottle.
Oh dear, how old are you again?
Today I think I turned about 62.
Yeah, you're older than
So,
me.
yes, the demographic of the podcast has gone up slightly. Matt's in the northern area.
Hello. Hello.
And Gary's in the London quarter.
Bonjour.
TV news, reviews and previews now, Gary.
Yeah.
Have we got the quiz? Because I've seen no telly, so all I'm basically here for is the quiz.
I have a variant of the quiz.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, I will basically do everything because it's going to be a Matt and Gary heavy show today because I've seen no telly. I don't know why. Last night we were out at a birthday celebration and I've no excuse why I've not seen anything else because I have access to the things that the things we've spoken about, but not seen any of them.
I'd like it now when I do that, when I have a life, you have a real go at me and go, commitment to a TV podcast, blah, blah, blah. And then when you do it, it's like, oh, look at me, everybody. I've got a life, and, you know.
Yeah. I'm just too busy to entertain the nation. So, firstly, news front. No Doctor Who this year. It's going to be back in 2017 with Stephen Moffat leaving and our old mate Chris Chibnall taking over the role.
What I'm happy about is it is someone else who's a fan of the show that's taking over, because I think that's important. I think Doctor Who...
Luke was up for the job. But...
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to make it a gritty crime drama.
But then they realised he can't write.
6 episodes of Doctor Who Chris Chibnall's written, including Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Does sound like a kid's show, that one, doesn't it? Dinosaurs on a kid's show.
That featured Mitchell and Webb as robots. There you go. Background.
None of this sounds like it's real, but I've no way of checking. BBC held a big event on Monday to tell people of their plans of what's going to happen to BBC Three when it moves online on the 16th of next month. Basically, everything we knew already, but a few more added programmes. You can see the full list and full details of the move online on the website at thecustardtv.com.
Well,
Gary?
Yes?
Goeth to the western area.
Billions, which is co-produced by Showtime in America, or is produced by Showtime in America, has gotten a second series after only 1 or 2 episodes of being shown on the United States television, which I think is quite amazing.
Bloody hell, that was a long way of saying there were 2 on.
Well, indeed. This stars Damian Lewis, previously of Homeland and Wolf Hall, and he's being shown on this country on Sky Atlantic eventually because of the new arrangement with Showtime and Sky Atlantic. It's unusual
if we were playing a drinking game where you got names right, I'd have had to have 2 sips there. No, 3. Damian Lewis, Homeland, and Wolf Hall.
I know. It's almost as if I had researched it. Stephen King thriller 11/12/63 is also going to air on Fox in this country. If that date means anything to you, it is, of course, the date where President Kennedy was assassinated, and this Stephen King thriller is about someone going back in time and doing stuff with it. It stars somebody famous.
Oh, damn it. I was looking for a drink then.
Who does it star? Come on, Gary. I believe in you.
No.
What's it called again?
It's 11/22/63.
Did you actually take a drink then?
I did. He got the name right again.
James Franco.
Thank you. Yeah, I knew it was someone important.
And what's James Franco from, Gary?
Television?
Not necessarily, no.
I don't know, actually. I'm familiar with the name, but I don't know what film he was in.
Also, Chris Cooper as well is in this.
2 short reviews. The return last night of Madam Secretary on Sky Living. It's the series. Many people didn't get that far. Yeah, I know Luke makes his usual joke there. Excellent series starring Tia Leone, or however on earth you're supposed to pronounce that, as the Secretary of State. In this first episode, due to a set of unfortunate circumstances, she ends up being the acting president for one episode, and it's quite good still.
She's acting all the way through it, though, to be fair. She's
the
not
way you
just
said that.
suddenly become an actor.
The dancing president.
Well, no, but I mean... And secondly, a new show on Sci-Fi called Killjoys. This was hidden away. Well, it was quite well promoted, but mostly only if you were watching Sci-Fi.
And if it was on a bus.
Not on the side of a bus, no, it wasn't that well promoted. Set in the future, set in space, 2 bounty hunters who basically work for a government agency that...
Do you know what? I genuinely thought he was going to say bouncing castles then. I really did. 2 bouncing castles in space.
That's a whole different show that I'll be talking about next week. They collect debts, basically, on people. So if people owe money or, they haven't paid their TV license...
Yeah, they're bounty castles. Oh,
Indeed,
no, bounty
castles. And it's quite good. I came in a little bit sceptical because Sci-Fi at 8 o'clock often mean sort of not very good shows. I mean, I've often lamented about some of the stuff that goes on at 8 o'clock, and Sci-Fi is no different. It's not exactly one I'd go out of my way to see, but if you can catch a repeat, or if you're a Sci-Fi fan, because let's face it, there isn't a huge amount of great Sci-Fi on, as I've said before, then this is worth catching. And there ends the Gary Goes West portion of the show. I shall now come back.
Well, I've seen nothing. So it's basically going to be them talking, but I will intro each one. And congratulations again to Gary. I don't want to overpraise him, but we're 2 episodes in to Call the Midwife, a show he saw at Christmas and said he would probably watch, and he stayed true to his word. We're now on episode 2 of the current series, and I have to say those words Matt always says. Gary, what did you think of it?
Well, again, this was quite a good episode. I'm surprised that it's still quite challenging and thought-provoking. I never thought that that's what this show was about. I always thought this was about, being a midwife. I didn't necessarily think they would deal with such issues. And, this week they talked about the difference between bottle feeding and breastfeeding. There was a lot of stuff about...
contentious.
Indeed. There was also a lot of stuff in there about the sort of depression around, lack of work around the docks and things like that. There was even mentions of Tottenham Hotspur winning the FA Cup and the double, which I was quite happy about.
I was thinking about you when they did that bit. I wondered.
This is so catered for you now, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I have to say this was quite an emotional episode for me.
It was. Totally emotional.
Totes emotion. I think Catherine Rose Morley's the actress, isn't it, from Last Tango in Halifax? He was the one who was laid off from the docks for sort of being found sleeping, and then it turned out he had leukemia, and they were trying to keep him alive so he could watch his baby being born or something like that. So
they kept him alive so
he could meet his son.
That's it. Before
is that the one from the Bon Jovi song? Johnny used to work on the docks.
Yeah.
The union's been on strike.
Remember that bit, Matt, when Luke said he wasn't going to say much about the programme?
I know.
I didn't say I wouldn't sing Bon Jovi throughout.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. You didn't say that, Matt. And
How much can they show of the breast side at that time? That sounded wrong. I didn't mean that. But how much?
No, I don't. Yeah. They didn't. The normal kind of like with a covered sheet. So,
and you saw blood emanating from it at one point.
But I mean, you see pretty much, a child being born.
I can't believe we're discussing it. I'm sorry, I'm not.
But you see a whole child being born, but without
a whole
child.
Yeah.
Just explain to me again, Gary. What is it for you that's keeping you so
I think
intensely into it?
The lack of Miranda, as you mentioned before. Sometimes you want a show that isn't a cop show. Sometimes, you want something that doesn't feature death and murder as its main subject, and this is something different. And also, I think the time period now has got more into familiar territory.
61, isn't it?
It's 61, so I mean, we're kind of only 11, 13 years before the birth of Gary.
Before another whole child was born.
Indeed. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of. I think also as well. I mean, Charlotte Ritchie's a very good actress, I think. I mean, obviously, I think that's helping.
I think the whole ensemble is brilliant. Linda Bassett this week got to show off her skills when we had the
God,
story.
I wonder what you're going to say.
With the story with her meeting a man at Spanish class and then learning.
Yeah.
She thought he was widowed, but it turned out his wife had dementia, and her trying to cope with that. So it's nice and uplifting, Luke, as you can tell.
And it always the way.
It's quite nice. That's much more I can say about it.
Sticking with the 60s, because you can spoil this as well. I've got it, just haven't seen it. It was the final episode of Sean Evans and Roger Lamb with Endeavour Sunday. This is going to be replaced this coming Sunday with ITV's Vera, so we won't be watching ITV for 4 weeks. But Matt wrote on Twitter that it was one of the best pieces of drama he's seen for a long time. What was the basic premise, and what made it so, engrossing?
Well, there was the story about Morse going back to his Oxford College, wasn't there, and meeting one of his old tutors, played by Mark Heap, who had a younger wife.
Did he do the usual Mark Heap job, or did he sort of calm it down a bit?
He calmed it down a bit.
It was still quite heapish, I have to say.
Did he heap it on?
He heaped it on.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad I came, but I haven't seen any telly.
He asked Morse to sort of what his wife was up to, and then she said, I think he might have murdered someone. And then there was this other plot about this gangster family, wasn't there? And
there was
the head of the family dying. And it basically climaxed with like a sort of good half an hour bank heist where all the sort of stories merged together, didn't they? What I like about Endeavour is that you get all those different scenes at the start with the characters that are disparate and you don't know how they connect at the start.
It's like a murderous version of Only Connect, isn't it?
Yeah. Some of the contestants but some of the contestants on Only Connect do look like they could murder.
I watched an old episode of Only Connect. That big bloke out of the Chase won it once.
Yeah, Mark the Bet.
I didn't realise that.
And we'll talk
let's
about
stay
him
on
in a
topic.
minute.
Let's stay on topic.
Okay, sorry.
So Endeavour, I thought because it combined the stuff about Fred Thursday and his illness and he's going to snuff it soon.
Except puffed up a bullet, which I think was impressive.
And then obviously they sort of dealt finally with Morse's feelings for Thursday's daughter as well. Interesting where they're going to go with it now, because he's sat his his sergeant's exam?
Well, yeah, he sat his sergeant's exam, but one of the things that perhaps didn't get picked up in our episode last week is that the police sergeant has been promoted to detective sergeant, and there's only one detective sergeant on the squad.
Yeah.
Which kind of implies that Morse might have to move to move on in his career, but I'm sure that, and we all kind of thought, well, with Thursday being ill, then. And in this episode, he was suspended, wasn't he?
Yeah, they did mention that it would be that he could make a good inspector. So whether he will become Inspector Morse in the
well, that's right.
I don't think they can carry it on much longer because I think this series has been the weakest of the.
It's
still brilliant.
I mean, bonkers is a word I use.
Still
for this.
Good, but the weakest I think that they've done so far.
I wouldn't be surprised if when it comes back, we've moved forward a little bit in time. I wouldn't be surprised if perhaps they take the view of. Going because I still think we're in the mid-early 60s, aren't we? We're not. There's
the mid-early 60s.
We're not.
The mid-early. The mid-early.
The mid-early 60s. 61, 62.
That's not mid. That's the beginning of.
I can't get away with nothing on this show, can I? The early 60s. So I don't know whether perhaps they could move it on. I don't know. Maybe do an episode based around the World Cup or something.
It's not really our fault. If you're going to continue to spout rubbish, then we will pick you up on it.
Gary, if you remember in the last series, Gary, if you remember one episode was set around the 1966 World Cup final, then...
Oh, okay, so we must be in the late
1967.
We're in the mid-late 60s, I think.
60s. My favourite late period. Okay, well, maybe next time we'll go into the 70s, I don't know. But anyway, I still like it. One thing that I do know is ITV, don't ever make this into a 1 hour programme. Please keep it at 2 hours.
As you mentioned him, Mark Lebet, he, of the Chase fame, was part of a new ITV reality series called Sugar Free Farm, which a lot of people scoffed at, and Matt watched it, ironically, while he was scoffing.
Yeah, no,
so he enjoyed it.
I thought, obviously, I thought going in, oh, this is another sort of Flock Stars or whatever the other celebrity shows they've done recently. I really liked it. I think part of the charm of it is that the majority
you were eating at the time.
The majority of the celebrities are there for a good reason. You know, they want to lose weight. They want to stave off sugar. Basically, the premise is that 6 celebrities who eat